Hello everyone, I am Wendar. Welcome to this week in news, and today we have a ton of news actually. A lot went down. I feel like NFL season is finally here. I mean, we had our first preseason game of the year, so I mean, football is officially back, and training camps have started and everything. So there's so much news to talk about and to cover. I'm going to try to get it done as quickly as possible, as to not waste your time, and then we'll go on from there. So, starting out from the beginning of the week, July 31st, starting then, is that Jonathan Stewart was praising Christian McCaffrey, of course, the Panthers running back that they drafted there. He said he was unstoppable. I thought that was really interesting that Jonathan Stewart would give such high praise to someone he's basically competing with, at least at the position, running back position for. But I guess, he's just trying to be a good guy. We also saw some other footage, a lot of footage of McCaffrey this week. He looks really well. He looks really good. He was juking out Luke Kuechly and everything. So, I mean, he was doing really well in practice. We'll see if that translates going forward into the season. We also had Ajayi. He was doing well in practice, although after taking a big hit, he is now out with a concussion. I think I'll catch up on that later in the news feed here. Hold on. We have Michael Thomas doing well with Drew Brees in training camp. These are just some little videos and snippets from training camp that people shared. So I thought it was interesting to see that. Also, offensive lineman Brandon Albert, he is now retiring from the NFL. So he is out now, which I think was funny because the Dolphins and Jaguars, they traded Julius Thomas for Brandon Albert, and Brandon Albert is now retired, and Julius Thomas is now hurt. So it's basically, not a net no gain from either side, and that was that. We had Roger Goodell hold a fan forum at the Jets facility. Nothing interesting was really said, I don't think. Not that I know of, but I don't know. Maybe some other info came out from there. I'll have to look into it more maybe and give you some news about that. But I'm assuming apparently he wasn't booed coming out and to talk to the fans. So I thought that was interesting. That was basically the most interesting bit of news that came out of that. We also have, speaking of the Jets, Matt Forte left practice on Monday with a minor hamstring injury. I don't know the update on that now going into the end of the week, but I know that he did leave practice on Monday, so maybe going into this week he'll be back if he's not back already. We'll probably have news on that next week to see if he ever returned or not. I should have kept up with that story. I'm sorry about that. We also have Kelvin Benjamin here. He said Ron Rivera was talking about how well he's done in the offseason and how much he's worked to really stay fit and get in shape and get better. They said before the training started for the new season, he was 270 pounds. And the day that he reported to camp, he was down to 243. So it looks like he's really serious about staying in shape and getting better and playing well this year, which I thought was interesting. The Giants also signed Mike Nugent, a kicker. I don't know how much effect that'll have on the team, but I mean, that happened at least. We also have a bunch of Packers players got injured this week or were sitting out of practice for some reason or another, unfortunately, including cornerback Kevin King, who they drafted, was supposed to be really good. He was out for at least one day with a shoulder injury. Again, I don't know what's happened with that. And like I said as well, Ajayi was not practicing. He had a confirmed concussion after that big hit that he took earlier in the week. Let's see. Let's scroll up. Oh yeah, Jameis Winston was wearing a knee brace to camp one time on August 2nd. That apparently turned out not to be an injury, but actually he said he was just trying it out. He wanted to see what it would feel like if he played with a knee brace on his plant leg. I guess he thought that would make him better at throwing or something. I don't know what's going to happen going into the season, but I know that he did try it out and he's not injured. So I know people were freaking out because they saw him in a brace and thought he was injured, but he is not. So that's good. Also, big news is that, well, okay. Again, this is something that I should have followed up on, but I know that Sterling Shepard was carted off the field after taking a big hit on August 2nd. So uh, that would be Wednesday. He was apparently crying, and like I said, he was carted off the field, so that was apparently really bad. Um, and then later, Giants fans were celebrating because they said it was just a minor ankle sprain, but that was before any test results came in. I haven't seen anything since those test results have come in, if they've come in. Again, that'll be something that we look into next week. I don't know, following that story, what is going to happen or what has happened, but I know that it was really bad the day of the injury, so I don't know. It could be nothing. It could just be a sprain, but I highly doubt it. We'll see. We also have Micah Hyde he was injured after making a diving interception in practice, which is a stupid thing to do. But then he eventually got up and walked it off, so that was just more of a false alarm than anything else. We also have Chargers Forrest Lamp was carted off the field this week too, with an apparent leg injury. Again, this is something that I haven't followed up on, but I know. Okay, it says torn ACL here, so that's not bad. I mean, that's not good. So he's basically going to be out for the season then, which is a real shame because, you got a rookie offensive lineman, and which I know the Chargers are really high on. He injures his knee in practice, and now he has a torn ACL, so that's pretty sad. We also have pretty much the biggest news of the week, which is that Ryan Tannehill is let's see. I know he had a serious left knee injury, and that has now turned into a torn ACL, partial ACL tear. So he is. I don't think it's been confirmed that he's out for the season, but he's definitely going to be out for a significant chunk of the season, if not the entire season. So now the Dolphins have been scrambling this week to try to find some sort of replacement, including they were in talks with Jay Cutler at one point, which I thought was really interesting. I think they're in talks with Colin Kaepernick too, but from Dolphins Adam Gase, he said today actually that he's only had one conversation with Jay Cutler, so it's probably not too serious in terms of that. But just the fact that that's on the table is kind of ridiculous. And people are obviously saying that Kaepernick is better than Cutler, which I don't know if I necessarily agree with. I would say probably at this point. But either way, it's going to be bad. So we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. So I mean, I'm sure they're going to find. If they don't find a replacement this upcoming week, then that means they're probably just going to be going with Matt Moore, right? So, which is a possibility. I mean, that's what they did for a lot of last season too. And I mean, he's not anything special, but if you're going to go after Cutler, I would rather just have Matt Moore in that situation. And finally, today we have 49ers veteran linebacker Malcolm Smith out for the season with a torn pectoral. So pretty much a bunch of injuries because the season started, practices have started, and people are being stupid and going, 200% after being cold in the off season this entire time. So it's a shame to see all these people going down and going out with injuries. And it'll be interesting to see going forward how these teams make up for these. I mean, some really crucial injuries have already messed up teams. I mean, the Dolphins are pretty much out of the season already. So, and of course, they're not the only ones. Going back to last week, we have out for the Ravens for at least a couple weeks. So I don't know. It's going to be an interesting season. I'm glad that football is back, but I feel bad that these injuries are happening. So um, that was the weekend news. Hopefully that got you all caught up. Hopefully that was a quick little introduction to the football season. Football has started, and it's going to continue going into next week. We're going to get Hard Knocks next week too. So football is back. Football is definitely back.